Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, please consider subscribing. In this video, I'll show you how you can find the sine of negative 690 degrees without using tables or calculators. So first things first, we need to understand what are the quadrants and what are the ratios and what are their corresponding signs in those corresponding quadrant. So when you look at this angle, so the technique is to first of all convert that angle into its respective acute angle. That's the goal, and you have seen those videos in the previous series. So if you haven't watched any, so please revisit them and see how we can convert simply large angles into acute angles. So we can see that this is this angle is negative, and so the way to approach that, we can always recall that sine of a negative angle is the same as negative sine of a positive angle, or we can always move in the opposite direction to the positive angles, and that makes those angles negative. So it's all the same. Now, in this case, we are going to see that we can first use the approach that sine of a negative angle is the same as negative sine of a positive angle. This holds, and we can always use this to simplify stuff. Or we can, instead of moving in the positive, that in the counterclockwise sense, which is positive, we can always move in the clockwise direction, which is giving you negative angles. So if we go to the quadrants by looking at the triangle, we can have that this is 0 and each of these quadrant is 90, so this is going to be 90. This is 180, 270, and this is 360. So if we move further, the second rotation, this is going to give us 550, this is going to 450, and so this is going to give us 540 if you add on 90, and so this is going to give us 630, and then this is going to give us 720, so on the second rotation. So we can observe that 690 is an angle that falls within the fourth quadrant. So the first quadrant is this is second, third, and then this is our fourth quadrant. And the first quadrant, all is positive, so all ratios are positive. Second, only sine is positive. Third, only tan is positive, and then in the fourth quadrant, only cos is positive. And we're dealing with the sine, where sine is negative here. So that means our when you are simplifying that, sine has to be given a negative sign. So now, where is 690? So when we draw a line, let's assume that angle falls here. And so if we make rotations, we can see that if we rotate and then rotate and come back, that angle is going to give to be found around here. That is to say this is going to be 690. Okay, and so our question is to know what is this remaining angle, this one here, and that is the angle of our interest, because we are drawing our right angled triangle based on the x-axis. So that's what we have, and so our question is, what is this angle? So the idea is going to be just taking off a difference between these two, and that gives you at least 30 degrees. So this is what we have. So what does that mean then? It means that we have sine of 690 degrees being equal to first a negative of sine of 690 degrees. And again, we can see that this negative kept outside. We can see that sine of 690 is the same as sine of 30, but again it is in the fourth quadrant where it is negative. And so what does that mean? It simply means that sine of 690 is the same as sine of this remaining angle, which is 30, but again it is found in the negative where it is negative in the quadrant, so we are going to say negative sine of 30 degrees. And so when you look at that, we can see that if we open up the brackets here, this becomes just a positive, and this is sine of 30 degrees. And so then we can think of what is sine of 30. So if you try to just revisit your triangle, whereby this is 1, and then this is 2, and then this is root of 3. So this angle is 60 and this angle is 30. This is derived from half of an equilateral triangle, which is considered to have angles of 60, 60 inside 60. So if you, and the sides being 2 and 2, so if you bisect it and subdivide it into two halves, then you come up with this, whereby you can find this height of the triangle as root of 3. So what does that mean? It means that then I can extract my sine of 60 or sine of 30 here, which is opposite over hypotenuse, and this is going to be sine of 30 being equal to opposite, which is this side here, and that is 1 over hypotenuse, which is then the 2. And so that means I would have that sine of 30 is equal to a half without using any calculator. So I can say that sine of minus 690 degrees is the same as a half. So if you try with your calculators, you must be able to come up with 0.5. And so if you did not want to take this approach of assuming sine of, not assuming, but using this relation that sine of minus theta is equal to minus sine of a positive angle, you'd simply move in the opposite sense, and so this is 0, so you would move in the clockwise, whereby now these are going to be negative angles, so this would be 0, and this is minus 90, minus 180, and so on and so forth. And so that angle, the rotation would end up throwing you here in the second quadrant, where sine is a positive, and you'd get that angle as being equal to 30 degrees extra from this horizontal line, and then you can find sine of 30 as that. So either way you approach it, as long as you follow the rules, the answer remains correct.